Welcome to my channel, Brainies. In today's video, I'm going to deliver the content about the topic hyperacusis. Hyperacusis is a rare hearing disorder where the sound which is usually perceived as normal seems to be uncomfortably and often unbearably louder to the affected people. It's also described as decreased sound tolerance, abbreviated as DST. People with normal hearing experiences a range of sounds within varying degrees of loudness. In contrast, people with the hyperacusis experiences sound in general with the volume turned too high. So some of the examples for hyperacusis are they often experience even the following smaller sounds as uncomfortable for them. For example, people chatting, a car engine running, water running in the kitchen sink, household electrical appliances running, someone turning the pages of the book or even the newspaper, many other soft and gentle sounds. So, the impact of hyperacusis. The experience of the affected people can take a toll on mental health, causing the person to feel irritable and anxious. Hyperacusis can impact the social life too. Some people with hyperacusis often try to avoid the social situations to reduce the risk of experiencing the intense noise or the loudness. Hyperacusis often accompanies tinnitus, which is a condition which is often associated with hearing loss that involves ringing, whistling, buzzing, clicking, or roaring sounds in their ears. Still, of course, not all the cases of hyperacusis involve tinnitus or hearing loss, and there's no research for that. Causes of hyperacusis. Researchers are still trying to understand what exactly causes hyperacusis. It's likely that the structures in the brain which controls how they perceive stimulation makes a sound seems louder. With this particular hyperacusis, the brain perceives the sound as loud regardless of their frequency or whether the sound falls within the ranges. In the low range, it is like thunder rumbling. Medium range, it is like human speech, or high range, like that of the whistle or siren sound. Various theories exist that it's possible that damage to parts of the auditory nerve also can cause hyperacusis. Another theory states that damage to facial nerve causes hyperacusis. The facial nerve usually controls the stapedius muscle, which regulates the sound intensity in the ear. So, many conditions associated with hyperacusis, for example, the Bell's palsy, the Ramsay Hunt syndrome, Lyme diseases, these things can involve the facial nerve damage too. Still, there's no single cause that explains all the causes of hyperacusis. Instead, it's associated with multiple possible contributing factors and the conditions. The contributing factors are long term exposure to loud noises. For example, hyperacusis is more common in people who is exposed to loud music for a long period of time, like musicians, rock musicians, who work in loud settings, like workers in construction settings. Sudden exposure to loud noise. Some people with a hyperacusis develop it after hearing a sudden loud noise, for example, such of gunshot or fireworks. Hyperacusis often accompanies conditions like tinnitus up to 86% of the people and Williams syndrome as many as 90% of the people. Nearly half of the people who've been diagnosed with hyperacusis also have they can also have a behavioral health condition like anxiety, distress, etc. This is the classification of the severity of the hyperacusis. So it can be classified as none, that is negative. Those who are having 95 decibel or greater at all frequency, that is the loudness discomfort level. If it is going to be like 80 to 90 decibel at two or more frequencies, it is considered as mild. And if it is 65 to 75 decibel at two or more frequencies, it is considered as moderate. And if it is 60 decibel or lower at two or more frequency, if they find the loudness discomfort level, then it is considered as very severe. Diagnosis, it can be difficult because not all healthcare providers are familiar with the hyperacusis, so diagnosis is a bit difficult. Of course, it includes the following things: that medical history, The healthcare provider can consider the risk factors like the behavioral health issues like anxiety, depression. They try to avoid the loud noises, social get together, etc. Examination, they look for the structural issues in the ear that may relate to hyperacusis. They perform tests to see whether the eardrum moves, the eardrum works. They also examine the cranial nerves, especially the seventh cranial nerve, which is a facial nerve. They check whether it is functioning or not. Hearing tests, they may also evaluate the loudness discomfort level. As I said, it is LDL, which shows at which level they perceive the noise as uncomfortably louder. So also they will you can also collect a questionnaire from them to assess how severe the experience of hyperacusis is, because it interferes with the everyday life. So the management and treatment of hyperacusis, there's no standard treatment for hyperacusis. Instead, we are just going to reduce the physical symptoms and the teaching and to teach the patient the coping strategies to handle the mental stress of the hyperacusis. So treatments include, the first is the sound therapy. The goal is to gradually expose them to progressively louder noises. First, they'll be exposed to a smaller noise and bit increased. So gradually the volume increases so that they get adapted to the louder sound for a few weeks. So the next one is the cognitive behavioral therapy, which addresses the negative feelings associated with louder noises. It reduces the fear and anxiety associated with hyperacusis. Studies have shown that this CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, increases the loudness discomfort level in people with a hyperacusis. Tinnitus retraining therapy, abbreviated as TRT, is usually a treatment for tinnitus, but it can also treat hyperacusis. It includes educating the people about their condition and providing counseling, and also sound therapy is being given. With this TRT, they listen to calming sound frequencies like pink noise. Pink noise creates a calm and predictable sound environment so that the noise that they might otherwise experience as jarring are not as unpleasant as usual. So surgery, it includes performing a round and oval window reinforcement to address the hyperacusis which is associated with facial nerve paralysis. The surgery uses the tissue behind the ear to support the bones in their inner ear ossicles that helps to regulate the sound intensity. The surgery actually improves the loudness discomfort level. That's it with today's video. Thank you for watching. Kindly support by subscribing and sharing. Meet you all in next video. Thank you once again.